I've meant to ask you from the first time I was on the podcast. So one
Okay.
is back in the day, you had you were writing a blog for USA Today,
Hmm.
coaching American Idol
Yes.
participants, and I
Yes.
want to hear how that came about and anything that is of note about that experience. It's true, right?
No, that's 100% true. That was my first professional writing experience. I was in
Awesome.
college and
You were in
how
college. How
I
old
was in
were you?
college. I was like 22, 23.
Okay. How did you get it?
I was a blog commenter
Nice. On the blog?
on the blog. So the then music editor at USA Today, he had his music blog and he had an American Idol blog. And I used to watch American Idol with my parents, actually. Like, it was like kind of our show. We always enjoyed watching it. And, this was back when it was the number one show on television.
Yeah.
This is back when it was like, its peak. And I would comment kind of on like my opinions of the music industry and of the contestants and how things were going. But I would also comment on his general music blog. And he liked my commentary and he thought I was a good writer and thought I was funny and reached out to me and said, we're putting together a panel of coaches there will be a column in the paper, every whatever day it was, where they'll be giving advice to the contestants. And then there'll be a longer version that'll run online. And would you like to do this?
Ha.
I was like, yeah, are you kidding me? That'd be amazing. So I was in the paper every week and like my photo was there and then a longer version was online. And
That's amazing.
I got paid $1,500, which was not a lot of money, but
Wait,
I thought it was
for
great.
what? For each column?
No, period. For like
Okay, got it. You got 1,500. How long did you do it?
whatever the length of the season was. So like 12 weeks, I guess.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And so not a lot of money, but I'd never done anything, professionally before. And I bought a black MacBook with it that I named Simon because Simon Cowell wears a black
nice. Yeah,
t-shirt,
of course.
and American Idol inadvertently paid for, my career. And it was amazing. What was so great about it is that gave me the confidence then to apply to blogging jobs, which then led to my professional career because that gave me
Yeah.
the confidence to say, oh, well, if I was good enough to write here, about something that I am not qualified really to comment on the same way that, because it was some actual industry professionals and then me, who's just like the
Yeah.
fan.
Love it.
Then like, okay, then clearly my writing is good enough that I could write, for a blog that pays me $10 a post. And which then, led to a much more lucrative career. Yeah, but no, it all came from blog comments. It's one of those stories. I still can't believe that happened because even in 2007, when that happened, that was not a common thing. Like that seemed like that was like a fantasy of someone like
Yeah.
being like, somebody being like literally like, lifted from the blog comments and lifted up into, stardom. And it wasn't stardom, but it was definitely, I remember being in a class. I was taking this journalism class and the teacher was terrible and she sucked and she hated me. And she, because I would ask questions about like, well, what about blogging? What about, digital media, new media, as they were calling it then. And she was really
New
dismissive
media.
of it. She was really dismissive of it. And so I was then immediately dismissive of her because I was like, whatever. And I wasn't going to tell her, well, I got a job writing because I'm a blog commenter. I like didn't say that. But one day somebody in the class had a USA Today and they saw my photo and they're Christina, is this you? I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh my God, Christina's in the paper. And then, I had to explain, yeah, I have a weekly, thing that comes out. And the teacher, she was mad. She was like, how did you get this? And I was like, yeah, I commented on the music editor's blogs and he liked me. And she was like, well, she basically was like, don't expect this to turn into anything.
Oh my God.
And-
Sounds like
and-
a bad high school teacher.
It really does, right? And
You're
this is
never going to
college.
amount to anything.
Completely. She was just so completely foreign to her. And I was just kind of like, and I didn't argue. I wasn't going to say anything because in my mind, I was already like, lady, if I want this as a career, and I thought that I kind of did at that point, I was like, I'm going to be successful. Like,
Yeah.
Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
right.
it was like it was even then though it was unbelievable that it happened. So yeah, that's
amazing.
Yeah.
Were you commenting on lots of different blogs, or was it mostly that one?
It was. I mean, I commented both of his music blogs. I would comment on other blogs too, though. Like I had I would comment on sites that I like to read. Like I was a Gawker commenter back when you had to audition to be in the Gawker comments.
Oh, that's right. What did that actually? What was that about? How did you have to do that?
Oh, they would just basically choose if that you were funny enough, and in that regard, or smart enough. And in that regard, I was smarter. I knew that I was like, I might not be witty enough for Gawker. This is like 2004, maybe, right? So this was a couple years before the Idol thing happened. But I was like, I might not be good enough to stand toe to toe with the best Gawker commenters. Because at the time, like at that era, the comments on Gawker were almost as good as the site itself. And like that was the like media and kind of, like a New York kind of gossip and culture. And
right.
like that was like the blog, right? But Wonkette, which they owned then, had a much more liberal policy in terms of approving commenters. So I got approved to be a Wonkette commenter, which